Hey guys, I don't have much time here, but I really wanted to give my quick take on this evening's weekly close, as I know a lot of bulls are already celebrating the strength shown by Bitcoin this past week. But I want to try and be the voice of reason here and give a couple of warnings to not only the bulls, honestly, all traders at this point, because in my opinion, it is make or break for Bitcoin right now. I personally think the bulls need to push Bitcoin past 70K in the next couple of days, or there could be quite a plunge looming. That being said, if 70K is broken, I don't want to be stuck in full on bear mode either. That has been basically my line in the sand for me, since basically we bottomed out at about 49K back in August. So, since that structure hasn't changed, neither has my opinion, but we are so close to that changing. I'm just not entirely convinced it's going to happen at this point because of this weekly close. So what I want to show guys is these are my own outlined areas, my own pivotal points here. I've been talking about this little trend of lower lows and lower highs for several months now, since June. I think I pointed it out. It hasn't changed yet. After I don't consider lower highs confirmed until we actually break structure to the downside. So from our last lowest low, or sorry, lower low than our lowest low, the highest point between the two has been 70K ever since August, and that has been in my line in the sand for that reason. Now, the interesting thing about that is the Algo Master indicator is also lining up absolutely perfect with that level. So with this indicator, guys, so I get the sell signal down here because that was our confirmation that yes, we broke structure bearishly. But even the indicator knew that, waiting for a pullback is best, right? And that's why we have this sell line, this blue line here. That's the sell trend there. And notice that our weekly candle closed right below that. To me, honestly, that looks like a rejection. This could be blown out of the water anytime. Yes, if we just end up pumping this week in the next couple of days here, if we break this lower high, we smash through that sell signal, we break that 70K level I won't shut up about, then I feel totally different about this market. But as it stands right now, to me, this just looks like a tight invalidation setup as far as trading the downside. Because I think the invalidation as far as a short is much closer than invalidation for a long. That being said, that's looking at it like a swing trader type of a mentality. I myself, I haven't ditched all my spot, nothing like that. My thing is, this is my theory, you guys. Well, not even my theory. This is just my thinking on the situation is, why would I be longing, FOMOing with leverage into macro resistance? Shorting into resistance, you should want to sell at resistance and buy at support. Right now, we are near resistance. So as far as a trade setup, my thing is, why would I be longing right now when I have potential for a massive reversal here? And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's the opportunity, there's the possibility for that. Whereas to the upside, even if we do end up invalidating my structure, which I've been very clear about for months, that I will feel different if we break that, I can basically get the same entry most likely on a long setup, but waiting for a proper, at least one sort of bullish confirmation, because as it stands right now on this macro trend, we're still in this range below 70K. So until that changes, I can probably get the same entry. If I wanted to long this level, I could get it with bullish confirmations anyways. So at this point, it just looks like more bearish confirmations more than anything to me. Now, the thing with these sell signals, I can just go out to this chart here. Yeah, it doesn't work every time. This signal right here failed. So one sell signal on the weekly time frame in the last, if we go back all the way to 2014, every other one has printed at least a 44% correction to the downside after candle close with those signals printing. Every one of these drops has been between 40 and 70% drop to the downside. So no, it does not have to happen. Obviously, there's misfires on any indicator, right? It can happen. It's just interesting that that sell signal also lines up directly with my lower high signal. And on top of that, yeah, we have this great RSI break here on the weekly time frame. Yes, that's a valid trend line in my opinion, and it's great that it broke out to the upside. But again, like most breakouts, things love to retest, right? So let's just say that this RSI even comes back and gets a bullish retest on this RSI trend line. That could be bullish as hell, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to see a big pullback with something like this to retest this. Doesn't have to happen, but it is something worth mentioning, because if we go back, this looks so much like how the chart looked before COVID, right? Yes, you could say, oh, this was a black swan event. That was COVID, so it doesn't matter. Well, it's interesting that the indicator, that same sell signal with the same type of structure where we had this tightly coiled, it was a downside, trending to the downside, right? We were setting lower lows and lower highs, even though it was a range. And then with that sell signal coming back, I mean, just look at this, you guys. Let's look at it the exact same as how I have that, have it mapped out currently, right? Let's go up here. We have this low, lower low. Here's my lower high. Therefore, it has the red ray right there, red line here, and the red line, again, matched up with that sell signal. Let's go back to COVID. We got that lower low, pull back to that lower high, the red line, highest point between the low and the lower low, matches up with that sell signal. RSI, we also had that bullish breakout of the RSI, but like I said, look at that. It came back and tested it perfectly. It was beautifully bullish, but look at that massive correction that we got in the process. A 60% correction from this candle body closing here, basically, or where was it, even here maybe. So either way, a massive move to the downside before getting bullish, even if things were bullish, right? So just something that I wanted to put on the radar, because in my opinion, that does look a little bit concerning to me. I myself, I'm in two shorts, basically on the candle close. I wanted to be in a short position because I don't like how this looks. That looks like a rejection. Yes, I'm being cautious about it. I have invalidations in place. I will, on shorter time frames, if structure starts changing, I am going to get out of my position early, or at least downsize my risk and pay myself a little bit. But as it stands right now, I mean, I'm interested in the short on this. I think it's beautiful. And so this is just a little FOMO or a lesson in FOMO I wanted to bring to your attention. I understand that there's bullish fundamentals happening in the market and it feels like it shouldn't be able to drop. But does this look familiar to you, or more so feel familiar to you? I know there's a bull flag that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but just looking at this structure, notice every time we set a lower low and we pull up to that previous swing resistance, right? I've just extended wherever our swings actually topped out, extending the red boxes. After we set a lower low, we come back up towards those resistance boxes and get rejected, set a lower low, come up to that box, get rejected, set a lower low. We came back up to that box again. Is this time going to be different? Yeah, it absolutely could be, but it doesn't mean it has to be. And I know a lot of people, and every time we came up to that resistance, people were giving me fundamental reasons why we weren't going to dump this time and why all-time highs were right around the corner. So yeah, absolutely. Like I said, this trend can break at any time, but how silly would you feel if this was, what, the fourth swing now with the exact same trade setup, the exact same type of FOMO, fundamentals going right into resistance and just creating just that, right? I just want to talk about this white trend line. I know a lot of people have a bull flag drawn different, but I personally like to go from exact touch points on trend lines. And I like at least 3 touch points before breaking out. If it breaks out before a third touch point, or on the third touch point, it kind of breaks through. That's where I'm more looking for a swing fail setup, looking to short the retest. So let's look at this. I got 1 touch point here. Let's just make it a little easier to see. Let's go yellow. 1 touch point here, 2nd touch point right here. Didn't quite get there this point. And again, I like exact touch points on the wicks. You know, I would say, okay, maybe this is a 3rd touch point, but either way, we just ended up closing a couple candle bodies above and then ended up just losing it and getting that retest of that trend line, possibly flipping that and just holding it as resistance even longer, right? So that's one of the reasons why I'm very interested in shorting these levels, because again, I have such tight invalidation. Basically, you know, my invalidation would be basically we just lose that. Okay, yeah, and if people want to say you're going to miss the bull market, you're bearish, you're dumb because you are going to miss this breakout. You know, if first of all, for one, like I said earlier, there's a good chance that I get some sort of a pullback and basically get the same entry anyways, but with a proper confirmation of some kind at least. But yeah, realistically, I mean, I just don't want to FOMO into resistance again. The fact that we have this resistance line, there's just so much going for the potential of this trend to carry on to the downside. And as I was about to say, you know, if, yeah, okay, I missed this. Let's say, yeah, we do break out to the upside. I get invalidated. I miss out on a 4% move. That's not missing a bull market, okay? You know, when I'm invalidated and I start just trading the upside a little more aggressively, because I'm looking at this from a trading perspective, not so much my investment side of things. I'm looking at this for a trader's setup. I want to be trading the downside right now because I just feel like invalidation is tighter. If you're worried about missing this part of the market cycle, and that's why you're FOMOing into resistance because it might break out and you don't want to wait for that retest. If that's the part of the market cycle that you're worried about missing, then so be it. It's just that I feel like I have, if I get invalidated on the bearish theories and it turns into full-blown bull market again, I don't care if I miss that. That is the least of my concerns. So just a little lesson in FOMO there is that, every time Bitcoin always looks strong at resistance. Okay. I agree that it looks strong right now and it could push through resistance, but 100% of the time when Bitcoin gets to resistance, it looks strong. That's when it looks strongest, is at resistance. So something to consider there. I do want to bring up the daily chart as well, because with the auto charting tools, it agrees with me. This indicator agrees that my lower high is right at that $70,000 structure, and this is a daily chart, okay? So, and same thing, right? It's pointing out this low, lower low. The lower high is the highest point between the two, just like what I went over earlier. So something to consider there. Hopping over to the 1 hour. I actually pointed this out to the MDX Algo community actually last night. I gave a heads up about this when we were trading down here. I said, if we do end up going to the upside, just understand that we do have this Stuber fib pull. And I would be looking at shorting this pocket here because it lines up with this downside, downward sloping diagonal resistance here, as well as I pulled a fib from the lower high signal with the auto charting tools, which I often show in my streams, one of my favorite trade strategies there. And the fact that we came up to that Stuber fib, the 786, 886, I mean, absolutely perfectly. So I did warn about this. And I even said, one thing I said when looking for confirmations about this, if we end up hitting the 786, 886 fib pocket, and then we see the Algo Master step in on the 1 minute and change directions, we start seeing sell signals and buy signals trending to the downside, because obviously they'd be trending to the upside if we ended up getting there. If they change directions to the downside, that's added confluence. So let's just hop over to the 1 minute and I'll show you what I mean. No, look at this. So that long trend line that I was talking about on the 4 hour, the daily, all of this trend line down here. Sorry, this is the daily. Let me go to the 4 hour. This 4 hour trend line here. Let's just hop into the 1 minute here and look how accurate that was, right? So that's where I like to find trend lines on longer time frames and then see how they react on shorter time frames. Just a beautiful little liquidity grab, barely broke it at all, and then getting that rejection. And notice even after that, that's another Stuber fib. I can see it right here. Boom, 786 lower high, and we've been dumping ever since. Let me get rid of the auto charting tools, bring up the Algo Master. And this is exactly what I was talking about, right? We had the upward trending sell signals and buy signals. And then that changed. We ended up flipping to, all of a sudden we got a lower sell signal. And that's when I said, basically, I was already in one short and I ended up taking a second short position when I saw that, because that's the exact confirmation that I was talking about with the MDX Algo and the pro signals there. So hopefully a lot of you guys with the MDX Algo community, hopefully you guys caught that. I posted it yesterday in the pro signals. I'm going to be, me personally, I like to reduce my risk as we go. So I'm going to start setting trigger take profits if we end up reversing too much. I want to make sure that I downsize my position a little bit and take profits. I'm going to have a couple stop losses set, but yeah, so that's just one way. I was looking at structure on the 1 hour, the daily, kind of all of that, and then also throwing the indicators in here to just get that additional confirmation that I was talking about. And now we just see that we have, all of a sudden, our buy signals are trending to the downside, got another lower sell signal. So just kind of confirming the trend after testing this 1 hour fib pocket, zooming into lower time frames and seeing that. So very cool there. If these indicators do interest you, there is a link down below with the discount. So actually, that being said, guys, I do have to go. I think that's about all I wanted to go over. Hopefully, if you guys did appreciate this take on my view on the market with this weekly close, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if you appreciate it. And like I said, if you're interested in my absolute favorite indicators on TradingView, I've been using these over 2 years now, every single day of my life. there's an additional 10% discount on checkout using the link down below, which also gives you access to MDX Crypto's MDX Algo VIP Discord. And like I said, I've been sharing a couple trade signals there. There's a handful of other coaches in there sharing signals. And just a great group, a great community of everybody helping each other out. So definitely check that out. If you're getting involved with the indicators, get involved with the community as well, because there's great value there as well. Guys, I also have a promotion currently running with my partners at Blofin, the exchange. It's a no KYC exchange. I've been trading on it every day for a while now, I think half a year or so. From now until November 7th, people who have signed up using my link in the past or new signups now will get some pretty damn nice deposit and trading bonuses. So be sure to take advantage of that if that interests you as well. I've also maxed out the cashback on trading fees at 20% for my followers as well. So if you sign up to Blofin using my link, you always get 20% of all your trading fees back. I think it's like every hour they pay out into your funding account or whatever. But yeah, very cool promotion going on here as far as trading volume bonuses, as well as just nice deposit bonuses. So check that out as well. With that, I think that's all I wanted to go over. Hopefully that all made sense. Again, just be careful. Like I said, I'm not stuck in perma bear mode right now. Like if we end up breaking this structure here, my opinion totally changes. But as it looks right now, I just can't help but feeling we have a weekly rejection here. Happy to be proven wrong. I just don't see it quite yet. So we'll have to see what the next few days do. In my opinion, Bitcoin needs to make some moves in the next couple of days, or there's risk of a big collapse here, in my opinion. So we'll have to see. So yeah, like I said, if you appreciate this content, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. With that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.